Good evening, Los Angeles. Like millions in our city and across this nation, I am deeply disappointed and saddened by today's news. By today's news that came out in the Breonna Taylor case in Kentucky. This outcome, and so many others like it, are why we cannot as a nation stop saying that Black lives matter. It is why we have to come together and continue pushing forward to make sure that this nation, which has a shot at birthing finally a multiracial democracy, that has a shot at finally being the more perfect union that we aspire to, that we do the hard work to get there. The charges that we saw today had unfortunately nothing to do with the death of Breonna Taylor. They had nothing to do with the bullets that took the life of a 26-year-old Black American. They have done nothing to allay the fears of Black families across this country that it could be their daughter or their son or the loves of their lives that could be next. Breonna Taylor's life mattered. Her humanity matters, not just to those who knew her, but to each and every one of us. In the moments before she was killed, Breonna was doing the most human of things, lying in her own bed, in her own home, in the middle of the night. This is not justice. And as we ask what comes next, we must begin with the most basic of questions. Why did this happen, and why has it happened over and over and over? We need to know, why do we have policies that could lead to things like this? No-knock warrants in the middle of the night. Why are officers there at a time when people are sleeping, and why wasn't there an ambulance there to help? The tragedy of today is no matter what happened with these charges, nothing would bring Breonna back. But she deserves, and I pray that she and her family will have, some measure of justice that also changes the way in which she was killed and prevents it from happening again. Today's news reminds us that our work is unfinished. In Los Angeles, we're not only trying to end discrimination in our hearts, we're working to root it out in our policies and our practices and our procedures with historic reforms that, thanks to the work of, yes, activists and police department officials, of everyday community members, have cut deaths here in half before last year. Another 35% just this year alone. Don't tell me that those changes can't save lives, because they do. And we must demand that in Los Angeles. We must demand that across our country. We must demand it until everybody can sleep peacefully at night. We have to transform our relationships, make investments in those programs that work and that bring police officers and community members together, of which Los Angeles has great examples. But I want to be clear, we're not immune from this work. This isn't just something that happens over there. It can and does happen right here. And so I hope all of us today will redouble our efforts and our commitment and our prayers to make sure that this change comes and continues coming. There are steps we must take to not only achieve justice for Breonna Taylor and George Floyd and Brandon Glenn and Elijah McClain and too many others, but to ensure that the trail of violence and bloodshed stops with us, this generation, here in this America today. And as we process today's news, let's stay mindful of the words of determination and peace that Breonna's family has shared with us day after day after day, that courage that they have shown. Let's keep saying her name. Let's never give up the fight for justice. Let's raise our voices in peace, and let's do everything we can to help keep each other healthy and safe. Yesterday was the first night of fall, and with it, the new season comes a new chapter in our fight as well, to keep healthy and safe from the threat of COVID-19. I want us to all think back for a moment to the earliest days of the COVID-19 crisis. I want us to recall the horrors that we saw playing out on the news. the fears that we had, the scenes that we saw playing out around the world, from Manhattan to Milan. Hospitals running out of beds, doctors making impossible life and death decisions, staff rationing their protective equipment and trying to reuse it, supply closets that became makeshift morgues as bodies piled up. Los Angeles has felt a deep impact of COVID-19. You know who you are when I'm speaking to so many of you who have lost a loved one. But thus far, here in this city of angels, you have helped us prevent the worst case scenario that we saw play out in other places, and that we can still keep from ever getting here on our streets, in our hospitals, and in our community. But we are not immune from the nightmare that we saw. As we head into the fall, there are things we need to be conscious of right now to make sure that we do our part to protect one another. The flu season threatens us all. It threatens to increase the number of people who are in need of medical care, leading to what experts are calling a twindemic, in which we have the flu and COVID-19 both taxing our medical personnel, our medical supplies, and our medical facilities. Let's not let that happen. And each one of us has the power to help prevent it with the most simple of acts, getting a flu vaccine. Yesterday, I got mine at the Weingart East LA YMCA in Boyle Heights, who I want to give a shout out to for their incredible work, not just yesterday with flu shots, but with food and help and childcare for so many people on our city's east side. We're making sure that everyone can benefit from this critical health measure. And so beginning in October, teams from USC's School of Pharmacy will rotate to different sites around our city to offer free flu vaccines to thousands of Angelinos. To learn more, you can visit our website at coronavirus.lacity.org/flu-shot. But whether you take advantage of this new program, and please bring your insurance card if you have it, though nobody without insurance will be turned away, or whether you go to a pharmacy or your doctor's office, last year it's estimated only half of Americans who could get a flu shot did it. Let's bring that number up. While there are very few people who can't get a flu shot, every one of the rest of us should schedule it for our family, for ourselves, for our community, and for our fight against COVID-19. As of today, we have some good numbers. Our positivity rate of COVID-19 is down to just 2.8% in the county. This is good news, but we have a little bit of mixed news. Our hospitalizations, our cases, and our rate of transmission are all slightly up. While the increases are not dramatic, they are significant, and we need to watch them and our behavior very closely in the weeks ahead. Remember, while Los Angeles County still remains in California's most restrictive county tier, we've been making progress over the last month and inching closer towards the next tier of our state's reopening guidelines. So here's the deal. If LA County maintains this low level, if we have our positivity rate where it is today, and we have no more than 7 cases per 100,000 people for the next 14 days consecutively, we'll be able to enter a new tier that allows for fewer restrictions. We've met the state's requirements so far for 1 week. Job well done, Angelinos. But let's keep our numbers at this level for another week to move into the next state tier in early October. And as I just mentioned, the county now estimates that the rate of transmission, what we call the R rate, is now at 1.02, slightly higher than last week, and the first time in a few weeks it's been above 1. Now remember, when the R transmission rate is above 1, that means that everybody who gets sick passes it on to more than one person, meaning that our caseloads will begin to grow again after a long time of seeing them coming down. So let's do everything we can to push it back down under 1 together. We know how to do that. It's the basics, and I'll get back to those in a second. But you may have also heard that the state will now allow counties to determine whether they will open nail salons with appropriate restrictions. As of today, the County of Los Angeles is keeping nail salons closed until there's more data to look at from the post-Labor Day times. I support that decision. And I will also continue to be a voice that I hope when we do open, that we will prioritize our youngest and most vulnerable children, getting them back to safe learning environments as our highest priority. The bottom line, this virus is still here, and it's still very dangerous. Today in this county, we had over 1,000 new cases reported, 1,265, bringing our total number of positive cases that we've tracked to 263,333. And 542 of today's cases were in the city of Los Angeles, bringing our city's cases to 106,946 total cases. During the past week, we've seen our 7-day average of daily cases now go a little bit above 1,000 to 1,072 cases. We remain, though, under that 1,100 average each day. The county also, and our hearts go out to those who have just learned this news of their loved ones, that there are 31 deaths that we added to the toll of fallen Angelenos. This brings the total number that we have lost of our people to 6,423 souls. Of these, 7 of the 31 were in the city of Los Angeles, and we continue to mourn with every family, everybody who's been touched by this deadly and vicious moment and by this disease. Our hospital inventory remains stable across the county with 746 available beds, nearly 600 acute care beds, and 148 ICU beds, as well as over 1,200 available ventilators. We have 212 ICU patients who are severely sick from COVID-19. This is a substantial decrease since last month, but again, I always temper that knowing there's 212 families out there hanging on every phone call that they get, every doctor's update, and our hearts are with you. But remember, our number one goal is to continue keeping these numbers down, to prevent our hospitals from being overwhelmed in the months ahead. Overall, 753 Angelenos are currently in the hospital due to COVID-19. This number has been on the decline for several weeks, and it's lower than any time since early April. This is good news. Keep up that good work. But I want to be clear, if you are worried about symptoms, you're not being paranoid. If you're concerned you might have been exposed, you cannot be too careful. So get tested right away. We've kept our testing capacity very open and very wide to ensure that everybody can get a test and to get that turnaround time quickly. I took a test today, this week, and got the turnaround time in 24 hours. And the city sites this week, we have the capacity to test more than 20,000 people per day. As of today, 1.47 million people have gone through city testing sites, and we continue to not only run our testing centers, but to bring tests to you, especially for those from a zip code or an income level or with a transportation impediment that makes it difficult for you to get to our testing sites. Today, we have those mobile testing teams at the First Congregational Church in Westlake, at the Anderson Munger YMCA in Koreatown, and the Weingart East LA YMCA. And tomorrow, they'll be back at the Anderson Munger YMCA. Remember, they're free. Those places you don't have to schedule an appointment, you can just show up. But to find out about those and any of our testing sites, please go to our website. Sign up for a test or find out where one is available without a sign up at coronavirus.lacity.org/testing. Or if you don't have access to a computer, just call us at 311. Testing is such a critical tool, one of many that we can use to help us each save lives. Contact tracing, as we know, helps slow the spread of this virus. So please answer the phone if you get that call from the county. It is a life or death call for people that you know. And download the Citizen Safe Pass app. Already more than 1 million people are connected to the Citizen app, and hundreds of thousands have downloaded this. It is a confidential, anonymous way that you can get an alert if somebody you've been close to has gotten a positive COVID-19 test to inform you that you should get tested as well. It's as simple as that. It saves lives, it protects lives. So keep avoiding gatherings, keep maintaining at least 6 feet of distance, wash your hands, avoid crowds, and anytime you're outside your household, wear a mask, like this one, which Evelyn, a middle school schooler in Sherman Oaks, who has her own little Etsy page, sent me with these amazing map of California right on it. Thank you, Evelyn, for this great mask. You see, staying safe isn't an individual responsibility, it's our collective responsibility. And I believe in Los Angeles and our capacity to not only save lives, but to continue to look out for each other in every way. In fact, we haven't just been saving lives, we're trying to save livelihoods. And so from the beginning of this crisis, your city government has been laser focused on doing whatever we can to keep people in their housing, to keep businesses going, to keep workers working. We were the first in housing city to enact tenant protections, ordering moratoria on residential and commercial evictions, freezing rents on 624,000 rent-stabilized apartments in our city, and launching the largest rental assistance program of any city in the country, $103 million to help both tenants and struggling landlords make that rent and make their mortgages. And we've organized lawyers from top law firms to provide you free legal representation. Earlier this month, Governor Newsom signed the state legislature's statewide extension of the California eviction moratorium, allowing renters across the state, including those outside the city of Los Angeles, to rest assured not lose their housing during this pandemic. Los Angeles was the first city to protect tenants as the pandemic began by giving tenants who have a COVID-19 hardship an affirmative defense to use against anybody who tries to evict them. So if you're a tenant that's facing a hardship-related event due to COVID-19, here are some key actions that you can take to ensure you're taking full advantage of that right that you have under my emergency order. First, respond to any eviction notice you receive. Under new state and federal law, you have 15 business days after receiving a pay or quit notice to sign a declaration that you have experienced COVID-19 related financial distress. I urge you to sign and return this declaration, as it's a critical step to securing your state and federal protections down the line. Second, if you receive an eviction notice from your landlord, do not leave your home. Instead, seek help from a lawyer and see if you are covered by COVID-19 renter protections in place. It is illegal for landlords to lock out tenants or to shut off utilities to try to evict them without going through a court process. And remember that your protections are in place no matter your immigration status. You can access the free legal services that I mentioned provided by your city through the LA Represents program set up by the City Council and myself and our City Attorney Mike Feuer at coronavirus.lacity.org/LA-represents. Third, make a plan to pay. State and local protections do not cancel or forgive rent you may owe, though I do support legislation at the federal level that will help pay for that. But they do give you extra time to make payments. The city's family source centers may be able to assist households that have been impacted by COVID-19. And to find one of those near you, please go to hcidla.lacity.org, or again, call 311 and ask for HCID, our housing department. Today, our City Council built on these protections by passing an emergency eviction defense program, going further than the LA Represents program by investing $10 million of our CARES Act money to support legal nonprofits to help low-income tenants, to increase education and outreach for renters and landlords, and to strengthen ongoing case management. And I'm grateful to the council members who led this fight, Council President Nuri Martinez, Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell, and Councilmember Paul Koretz, along with so many other council members. I know when I only say three, it really was a unanimous and group effort. But I want to thank them and our community and legal partners for your leadership in making this program a reality and helping so many Angelenos sleep easy at night. If you need support, know you are not alone. We are here with you. No matter who you are, and no matter where you live or what you do, we have worked every single day to ensure you have the resources that you need to weather this unprecedented storm. But as we respond to our immediate challenges, we must also lay the groundwork for a fairer, a more equal and more resilient future for Los Angeles. Every 10 years, the census gives us a chance to do just that, to build and to strengthen that foundation, to be counted and to be seen. It helps us secure a louder voice in Washington, how many representatives we have from California, tools that enable us to close gaps in education, health, housing, and transportation, formulas that literally tell you how much of your taxpayer dollars will come back to you or whether they'll just be shipped off to other parts of this country. But right now, the census response rate in our city is still under 60%, and we have just 1 week left. LA and every member of the media, please help us get this message out there. We need you to respond. Make it a priority. If you've been putting it off, today, right now, is the time to make sure you are counted. Fill out your census forms. You can do it online at my2020census.gov. You can call 844-330-2020, or you can fill out the mail form that came to your house or apartment. And if you need help completing your census forms, my team will be in Pacoima, in Panorama City, South LA, and other locations this weekend to answer any questions. And to find a person at an event closest to you, just go to census.lacity.org. And if you've already filled it out, check in with 5 friends, 5 family members. Make sure they have to and help them get it done. Be part of the Census Army to make sure we get what we're owed. I opened tonight about talking about a young woman who was taken far, far too soon from this nation. Another reminder of the dangers of being Black in America and how much work we have left. Breonna Taylor deserved better from this country. And last Friday night, we lost someone who worked to build that better, that fairer, that stronger America. With every statement, every sharp opinion, and cutting dissent, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg gave meaning to the words that are etched onto the Supreme Court: equal justice under law. Justice Ginsburg knew that these were more than just words, that they were a promise to be cherished, to strive for, to be kept. Not just by her as a justice, but each one of us who are part of this nation. In her final years, she said that part of the work of her life was to help even out the rights of men and women. Not to achieve those rights, not to hope for them, but to hold ourselves accountable and to apply them equally. That is what Justice Ginsburg called on us to do. Not to be idle observers of this moment in time, but active participants. Whether it's saving a life from COVID-19, feeding a family that's hungry, fighting for racial justice, addressing climate change, we are called to this moment to make our time on earth full of meaning. At the end of our days, we're left with who we knew and what we did. In this city, who we are honored to know, those who stand up for the idea of a city and a world where we all belong, it's an honor to be your fellow Angelino. And what we did, it is our time to look back, and as I've been saying throughout this year, not just look at this moment, and certainly not miss it, but to meet this moment, to rise to this moment, and to do everything we can, not just to respond and rebuild, but to reimagine a city and a world that will be just for all. In this moment of pain and injustice, let us draw strength from Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Let us recommit ourselves to that work of justice and freedom, of hope and healing, of today and every day. Let her memory be a blessing. So let's all stay safe, let's all stay healthy, and whenever we can, let's all stay at home. Much, much strength and love, peace and justice to each one of you tonight in Los Angeles. Thank you. And with that, I'll be happy to answer questions. First question, please.
Thank you. And our first question comes from Joel Pollack from Breitbart News. Please go ahead.
Hey, Joel, how are you? Can you hear me? Joel?
Fine, thanks, Mayor. Sorry, we were muted over here.
Oh, no problem.
You ended the press conference talking about Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who passed away. She was known for her defense of the rights of criminal defendants, and I'm just wondering in that light why you would be disappointed in a grand jury's deliberations that decided there wasn't enough evidence to charge officers with the death of Breonna Taylor. I'm also just curious about your statement that we have a shot at birthing, finally, a multiracial democracy. Do you believe we're not a multiracial democracy now? And finally, just wanted to ask you about the purchase of protective eyewear for police officers in LA at a time when police budgets are being cut, why the department is spending on this and what the need is. And could you explain what prompted that?
Absolutely. No, of course, I agree with Ruth Bader Ginsburg of the rights of a defense. That certainly doesn't mean that anybody accused of a crime is innocent or that there shouldn't be justice. I think it was crystal clear to many people across this country that the life of somebody was taken unnecessarily. And while charges were offered against one officer, they had nothing to do with the death of an innocent woman. Full stop. Second, a multiracial democracy, it's kind of like a more perfect union. I think we have a shot at doing it, and every day we should be working towards it. But nobody can say that we're there in a place where representation from the Senate to the Supreme Court, from the CEOs and C-suites of our corporations, that we have achieved a multiracial democracy in which there is a fair shot for everybody, and that we've been able to achieve the promise. Too many people are still left on the sidelines. In America, as we know, you have 1/10 as much money if you're born black as if you're born white. I don't want to see that go down for anybody who's white. I want to see it come up for everybody who's black. Here in Los Angeles, if you're Mexican American or black, it's nearly 100-to-1 gap. Imagine being that child growing up. You don't have a shot before you even start. So yes, this is about making sure that we have a multiracial democracy where people aren't taking folks off the voter rolls, where people aren't making it more difficult to vote, where people don't have kind of modern-day poll taxes to keep people away. Until we get there, that's the goal we need to keep pushing for, and this should be a year of progress. In terms of the eyewear, look, I will always make sure that my police officers are safe. We saw some insidious use of permanently potentially damaging industrial strength lasers that were used by some so-called peaceful protesters. Anybody using a weapon like that, and make no mistake, that's a weapon, that is not a peaceful act. And I want to make sure that our officers are protected. Look, every department is facing cuts. This year, it is the toughest budget year ever, but I'm not going to put the safety of our police officers who are out there on the streets who could be damaged by those sorts of things. And we will go after anybody and work with our federal counterparts as well for attacks like that on those peace officers that are here. I want to make sure that they are safe, working together with our police chief, with our police union, with our other representatives. We made sure that those got out there, and we're going to get them out there to all of our officers so that they can do their job peacefully. Thank you. I'm told that that is the only question for today. Thank you, Joel, for being here. Thank you to other members of the media as well who are with us. As always, I'll be giving my remarks in Spanish next for our Spanish media. Thank you, and everybody, continue marching forward, whether it's towards justice with peace or whether it's making sure that we demand that this COVID-19 epidemic is something that we all do our part to protect one another. I wish you all the very best, and we'll see you soon. En español, yo quiero decir mi mensaje de esta noche también. Muy buenas noches, Los Ángeles, y gracias por venir. Como tantos otros, estoy apenado y decepcionado por la noticia de hoy sobre el caso de Breonna Taylor. Esto no es justicia. Sigamos el ejemplo de la familia de Breonna. Sigamos luchando por la justicia y alzando nuestras voces por la paz. La época de la influenza también es un parte de nuestra lucha contra COVID-19 y para nuestra salud. Y está a punto de empezar, y tenemos que hacer todo lo posible para protegernos de esta enfermedad, para evitar un desborde en nuestros hospitales. Por eso, todos debemos recibir la vacuna contra la influenza para el final de octubre. Ayer lancé un nuevo programa piloto para brindar vacunas gratis contra la influenza en toda la ciudad. Nuestros equipos de USC estarán en rotación en diferentes lugares durante la semana. Por favor, visita la página coronavirus.lcd.org/flushot. Seguimos con nuestro progreso en la lucha contra el COVID-19. Hoy 3 de los 6 indicadores que monitoreamos están progresando en la dirección correcta. Mientras Los Ángeles sigue en el nivel morada más restringido, estamos avanzando hacia el próximo nivel de reapertura. Aunque otras partes del estado ahora pueden abrir las salones de uñas, aquí, por ahora, el condado de Los Ángeles los mantendrá cerrados, ya que estamos observando un pequeño aumento en el número de casos. Las próximas 2 semanas serán críticas. Hoy en nuestro condado tuvimos 1,265 nuevas infecciones. En total hay 263,333 casos y 542 de ellos están en la ciudad de Los Ángeles. En total tenemos 106,946 casos. El condado también reportó 31 fallecidos, lo que eleva el total a 6,423 almas, personas, miembros de nuestras familias, vecinos. De estos, 7 estaban en la ciudad de Los Ángeles. En los hospitales del condado hay 746 camas disponibles. Si piensa que ha sido expuesto al virus, hágase la prueba, aun si no tiene síntomas. En nuestros sitios de prueba esta semana tenemos la capacidad de hacerle a la prueba a más de 20,000 personas cada día. Nuestros equipos móviles de pruebas continúan desplegándose por todo Los Ángeles. Mañana tenemos un equipo en el Anderson Munger YMCA en Koreatown. Las pruebas son gratis para todos, con o sin síntomas. Por favor, visita coronavirus.lacity.org/testing o llame al 311 para más información. El rastreo de contactos también puede salvar vidas. Si recibe una llamada del equipo de rastreo de contactos del condado, tiene que contestar. Además, puede descargar gratis la aplicación de rastreo de contactos SafePass en su teléfono inteligente. Y debemos siempre evitar reuniones, mantener la distancia física, lavarnos las manos y llevar una mascarilla. Por favor. Desde el principio de esta crisis hemos tomado medidas para que ningún angelino pierda su vivienda. No importa su estatus migratorio, es igual para todo. El gobernador Newsom firmó una extensión de la moratoria de desalojos en California. Hay acciones que puede tomar para aprovechar de los programas y protecciones disponibles. Primero, responda a cualquier aviso de desalojo que reciba enviando una declaración de dificultad económica debido al COVID-19. Segundo, si recibe un aviso de desalojo de su arrendador, en vez de salir de su casa, busque ayuda de un abogado. Puede obtener ayuda legal gratuita a través del programa LA Represents. Visite coronavirus.lacity.org/LA Represents. Tercero, haga un plan de pago. Los centros de recursos familiares de la ciudad pueden ayudarle con esto. Visite la página hcidla.lacity.org. Hoy nuestro Consejo Municipal aprobó un programa de defensa de desalojo de emergencia. Invertirá $10 millones en ampliar la representación legal para inquilinos de bajos recursos, en cooperación con mi oficina y con el procurador de la ciudad, el abogado de la ciudad, Miguel Fuhr. Cada 10 años el censo nos da la oportunidad de determinar el futuro de nuestra ciudad con un conteo que determina cuánto recibimos en recursos federales para nuestros sistemas de educación, de salud, vivienda, transporte y más. Pero este año tenemos una tasa de respuesta muy baja, menos de 60% de la población, y solo queda una semana para responder. Necesitamos tu ayuda. Necesitamos la ayuda de su familia. Necesitamos que hagan su parte con responder al censo. Solo les toma 10 minutos para responder y para recibir miles de dólares en esta próxima década. Por favor, hágase contar ahora. Visita my2020census.gov. En inglés, my2020census.gov. O llame al 844-330-2020. Si ya lo ha hecho, pídele a 5 amigos que hagan lo mismo. Es crítico, especialmente en nuestra comunidad y en la comunidad inmigrante. Es crítica para nuestro éxito en el futuro. Hermanos y hermanas, quédense protegidos y quédense sanos. Y cuando puedan, quédense en casa. Fuerza y amor, Los Ángeles. Marcha a justicia. Es crítica por nuestro futuro y gracias por su ayuda. Buenas noches. Thanks, everybody.